Hello, everyone. This is Pamela, and I'm going to do a tutorial on the parallax effect in After Effects. Basically, what you're doing, you're taking a 2D picture and you're making it 3D. So this is the parallax effect for my project. I did that. Now we start off in Photoshop. And basically, let me get rid of this. This is the 2D file of that effect that I had in Photoshop. And what I did was, this is the original picture. And what I did was put each element on different layers. And I broke apart the photo and put it on different layers. Okay, for the sake of time, I wanted to do something a little simpler. We're gonna work on this picture. We're gonna cut out, she is in the foreground. We're gonna cut her out. We're gonna cut out the ground level, which is the sand and a little bit of the water and the sky and these little mountains. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. I can't count. We're gonna have 5 layers because we're gonna keep this original layer. So you can Control C and V. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have the original, so we can really just put that down, hide the original. First of all, we're gonna cut out the lady. So I'm gonna always name your layers. It will save your life later. I'm going to name this one Lady. And we can hide the rest of these. Now, to cut her out is really simple. You come over to the object. You can use any one of these, the object selection tool, quick selection tool, or the magic one. I prefer the quick selection tool. Then I come up here and I let the Photoshop's AI do most of the work. So I'll hit this select subject and it does a pretty good job, but you may have to tailor some stuff. So I see right here, it's not really, it didn't grab it. So grab the, her short. So I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna hold down Shift and you see the little plus, and I'm just gonna do that. And it grabbed a little more, so I can hold down Option. I'm on the Mac. I hold down Option and take it away. So you really don't even have to hold down Shift. You can just outline it, but if you want to take anything away, you have to hold down the Option key. So I see this, just a little, tweak it a little more. And I'm not going to worry about on cutting her out, just her. I'm not going to worry about her hair. That would take a little while longer, but, and also, you know, it's not really relevant to this tutorial. So once I get her cut out the way I want, I am going to hit the mask tool and voila, she's cut out. So now that we have her cut out, now we can hide her and we need to cut her. We need to work on the background. And then with the background, we need to get rid of her so that we can cut out the mountains and all the rest of the stuff. So with that, we can take the selection we already have, which I will go over here to the mask. I will hold down Command and click, and that's going to reselect the selection. So once we reselect her, we're going to go up to Select. We're going to go down to Modify and Expand. I want to expand like 2, 3 pixels. I'm going to try 3 pixels. And it expands. Also, I want to add all of these hairs. So I'm gonna hold down the Shift in the quick selection tool, and I'm just gonna get all of her hair. I'll mess it up here. I'm gonna get all of her hair and make sure everything is within that selection. We've already expanded. So now when I get all of her, make sure that we're on this, the label, make sure we're on the layer. I'm going to go up to edit, fill, and content aware. So I'm gonna hit the content aware, and that should take her out. And once you hit Command D, you'll see that most of her is gone, but it's still remnants right here of her hair and a little bit of her body. So we can take care of that. We can go over to, I like the spot healing brush for, you know, minor stuff like that. So I will go click on the spot healing brush. I'm gonna hit Option to select the area. And since it's the sky, I'm just gonna select over here. Okay, that's the spot healing. If I was the healing brush I hit. So now we've taken out the rest of the hair and we just have the background. So with that, I'm gonna get off of the spot healing and I'm gonna name this background. Now with this, I just noticed I don't even have to have these three. I can put this, I can just copy the background because we're gonna have to cut out the mountains and the sky. So with that selected, well, now that we have the background, I'm gonna go ahead and name this mountains. And I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna use the pen tool. A pen tool. And then I'm just gonna cut, I'm gonna go around the mountains. You can zoom in for this if you want. Zoom in, make sure, I don't like straight lines. And cut this out. I know this is, if I were doing this for a really picture, I would be a lot carefuler. I think I'm making up words here. So that we can cut them out. And then I'll come over here. I'm gonna cut this one out. And then this one. Okay. Now that we have them cut out, or with the pen tool, I'm going to go to paths, and where it says work path, I'm going to double click that, and it'll bring up a box using, it says save path, and I'm going to name this mountains. I've already done it once. This is like my 5th retake. So I have this name mountains. Okay, let's say I got you. Mountains 2. Okay, so now that we have mountains 2, I'm gonna come down here, and this is where the little marching ants, I'm gonna press that, and then I'm gonna go back to my layer. And with that, I'm going to hit mask. I hit mask, and if you do that, now we have the mountains cut out on their own layer. So I can close that. I'm going to grab my background again, and I'm going to duplicate it one more time. We're going to name this one Sky. Now, with the background, also, I neglected to say, and I'm going to say it now, we can make a selection of your mountains, and we're going to do the same thing on the sky that we did with the girl. We're going to go to selection, we're going to go to modify, expand. I'm going to do 2 pixels now since they're not as big as the girl. So once I expand, I'm going to go to edit, fill, content aware, and let it go. What happened? Let's see, edit, fill, and I want my content aware, and it didn't happen. Maybe, I don't know why it did not happen there, but you know what? That's not a problem, because we can take it out like this. We can go to the spot healing brush and just take, oh, maybe it did take it out. You know what, it did. We don't even need the spot healing brush. I think this is pretty good. I forgot I had the, I didn't hide the mountains layer, so it looked like it didn't take them out, but it did. I apologize for that. Okay, now that we have that, the sky, the background, the mountains out of the way, we're going to take the pen tool again, and we're just gonna go across it with the pen tool, and we're basically just separating the sky from the ground. This will become very important when we get into After Effects. Okay, now that I've done that, I can minimize it a little bit and do that, and do that, and do that. And I think I actually, now I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna do this. We're cutting out the sky. So I need to come and make sure I got all the ground out. Again, that was the pen tool. So we're gonna go back over to paths. We're gonna name this ground and hit OK. And then we're gonna go back to layers, and we're gonna hit, oh, we forgot to hit the little marching ants. We hit the marching ants, we go back to layer, and then we're just gonna hit mask. And that's, oh, we cut out the ground. Okay, so we're gonna rename this. Instead of doing everything over, we can rename this ground. And then we can hide this, bring this back up. We're going to rename this sky. And one thing we can do is, oh, I know what I did. We can just throw this away because this one does not have, we could disable this layer mask, which will bring that back. We're going to duplicate this because this one, I'm going to pull that down, and we're going to duplicate this. We're going to enable layer mask, and this can be ground. We can delete this layer mask, And then we can go back to paths and see where it says ground. We can reselect that. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Hit the little marching ants. And this one, we're gonna do Shift Command I, which will invert the selection. And then we can hit mask. And that will take care of the ground. And this is the sky. Now that we have those, have all of those together, one thing I can really do is get rid of this ground. I'm going to save. First of all, we have to save. I'm going to save this as tutorial. No, Parallax. X tutorial. I think that's how you spell tutorial. If not, I apologize. Okay, now that it's saved, I can delete this group. This is just extra stuff from my other takes, and I'm going to delete the group. So now that we have this, I'm going to save this again. And this is our Parallax tutorial. So now that we have this, we're going to take this file into After Effects. Hi, now that we have the image inside of After Effects, it's time to make it 3D. I've already clicked the 3D layer button. And I'm going to turn off, I'm going to go to the original. I moved the original on top because we're going to control click, go to blending mode and hit difference. That's going to give us a accurate map to follow. And the way difference works, when everything is aligned, the dark, it turns the pixels black. So this little outline, if it doesn't line up, that means that it's going to have a little color. Everything that's black is lined up. So with that, that's how we're going to make sure that everything is in the right place. So I'm going to cut that off along with the lady and the mountains. Now, the only thing I have selected now, I'm going to select both the ground and the sky. We're going to go over here to the default viewer. We're going to custom view. And I wanted to show you that everything is on one plane. So what we're going to do with the ground, we need to make it perpendicular to the sky. So with that, we're going to rotate on the x-axis. First, I have to unclick everything. Okay, so now we just got the ground. So we're gonna rotate on the x-axis to negative, ooh, that's not the wrong one. Let me see, x-axis, okay. Rotate it 90, negative 90. And we're gonna check it as soon as we go back to the default view. So one thing we can do, we need to align these two up. So we're going to go to the position and we can move the stop. Now that we see where it's positioned, we're gonna go to the middle and we're gonna pull it up just until it touches the sky. Doesn't have to touch it always. And now we're going to scale it. Unclick, first you unclick the constraints, and then you're going to scale it all the way to where, okay, so maybe adjust the X rotation just a little bit. And then we're going to scale it until it comes to the end. And right there, it kind of looks, it's all distorted. So what we have to do now is remove the distortion. So we're gonna go up to layer, go up to effect, distort, and we're gonna come down to corner pin. Actually, we're gonna use power pin. And the way we use that is we're gonna take these, we're gonna take this corner and we're gonna push it back and take this one. What we want is a parallel line on each side. So we'll take this one and we'll create a parallel line. And that forces, yeah, parallel is like a little bit, that forces the ground back into perspective. And if you want to check it, you can go to the custom view and you'll see that the ground is back there. And one thing we can do also is pull it down. And we need to make this back up. I'm going to use these to make them parallel. They're not parallel. So sometimes you have to play with it to get it just right, but that's okay because we're going to get it right. Okay. Okay. So now that we got that position, and again, you can check it by going to the custom view, and that looks much better. So we're going to go back to the default view. And we're going to parent the sky with the ground. Now with the sky, now we can also, if you want to check it, you can check it by make the original layer. You can show that. And if, as you see, now the background is black. So that means everything is lined up, the ground is lined up, and everything is good to go. So after we check that, we're going to take the ground, we're going to take the sky, and we're going to parent it to the ground. And that's this little whip right here. Just go and parent it to the ground. We're also now going to place the mountains. As you see, when we unhide the mountains, they're a little low. So we're going to go to the custom view and we can't see them. So that is one way where we have to transform them and pull it up. So with that, we're going to take the position and we're going to make them just barely seen. And that's in the custom view. So let's go back to the default view. They're barely seen, but as long as they're in place, that looks like they're in place. So we're going to leave those there. We're going to parent the mountains. The mountains are going to go to the ground also. We're gonna take a little pick whip and parent it to the ground. So now the sky and the mountains are parented to the ground. So we can close that. And again, if you want to check the validity, you can do it by unhiding the original. And that is how we're going to do, is how you do the background layer. Now we have to place the lady. As we see here, once we click on her, she is not in place. So we can go back to the default. We're going to go back to the custom view. And if she's in Z space, she's pushed back. So we're going to bring her forward by pulling her to the front and keep positioning her. Her right position will actually be where the little shadow is. So once we pull her to her shadow, and we probably have to make her go up a little bit more. She needs to be up and then go back and over. We're positioning her where the shadow is, because that's where she is. So now we can go back to the default view, and as we see now, she is too big. So we're gonna have to scale her down. Now, we're gonna click on the original, and now we have a guide to go by. So I'm gonna scale her down, and I'm gonna just work it until she is we can get her mostly black. This may take a little while, and if you know. Okay, now that we got her relatively correct on the ground layer, now we have all of our layers positioned correctly. And now that, and please don't forget to save. We're gonna save everything, and now it's time to animate. One thing about it, we're gonna have a camera. We're gonna add a camera to this, and you add the camera. Let's see. You just click on the thing, and we're gonna add a camera. Where is the camera? Okay, we right click on the composition, and it says add. We want to go to new, and then we're gonna go to camera. And this is the camera setting. You can do custom, but 50 millimeter seems to be pretty good. That's the one I usually use. So I'm gonna hit OK. And now we don't have to do anything with the layers. What we're gonna do is we're gonna animate the camera. So we're gonna go to camera. We're gonna go to transform, and we're gonna animate the Z axis. So we can push, just put a keyframe there. We're gonna move it, I don't know, we'll do 10 seconds. We'll move it to 10 seconds, and then we'll just change the Z position. And we can also, let's see, what else we want to do. Let's just do that and see how that works. So once we do that, then you can hit, I don't know why it's not streaming, but this will be, as you see, it's like a little parallax. The background is moving. One thing that I forgot to do that we should do is the sky. Now that we have the sky, that's the ground, the sky is the back. I'm going to rename this to sky, which I should have done. Okay, now we named the sky. We're going to push the sky all the way back where it's supposed to be, because the sky is not in real life. We can go to the custom view. The sky is not in front of the thing, in front of the water or the ground. The sky is all the way back. So we can take this Z position. That's not the Z position. We can move it back, or the anchor point. Yeah, take the anchor point and move the sky all the way back. Also, we can, I think, let's see where the mountains are at. See how the mountains are a little bit, we need to move them back too. We need to move them back in space. So we're going to take the anchor point and just move it all the way back to about right there. So we can go back to our default view and see how it's got a little gap. That's fine. We'll take the sky, and what we're going to do is we're going to scale the sky up, because the sky is always bigger than the ground. You know, the sky is the biggest. So we can move the sky. Let's see, bring it down and do that, and see where also we need to adjust the mountains because they're a little high. So we can go back to the mountains and we can just move them down until where they're supposed to be. And now that we got the camera animated, and if you scrub, you can see that it's moving forward. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take this composition. We're going to first trim it. We have 10 seconds, so we're going to trim it to 10 seconds. There you go. It's 10 seconds. You can go up to composition, trim to comp work area, and then save it. And we're going to go to Adobe Media Encoder. And once we do that, we're going to wait for it to open up. And okay, now that it's come up, we're going to make sure it's H264. We got it saved to where we want to save it. And let me just make sure that's where I want to save it. Right, that's where I want to save it. So I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to hit OK, and we're going to let it do its work and see what this looks like.